Alright guys, BLM here, back with more Scarlet Nexus. And yeah, I actually have some time here today. We were about to end the thing, right? But yeah, so it is Tuesday early afternoon. I got up earlier today, watched Australian Survivor. I did a couple other things. I do go to work in a bit, but there's some time, so I'll play like an hour.
Rendezvous where we met previously.
I got a message from
Yeah, I
Major
won't
General
be
Fubuki.
home until
Did
pretty
everyone else get it
late
too?
tonight.
I did too. I think he's talking about the safe zone.
But again, I'll probably record a little bit tonight. We'll see.
So I am sure he just wanted to play it safe.
But Major General Fubuki is with Spring Pharmaceuticals, right?
I do really want to make some progress in this game though, because we've really been
Do you
slacking.
think he knows about that factory?
Like I've only played like 6.5 hours in over a week.
Might have a purpose for calling a meeting so soon afterwards.
Yeah.
The fact that the OSF hospital prescribed the drugs must mean the government's getting products from that factory in some shape or form. Could Major General Fubuki be the go-between?
Does that mean he's an enemy too? Even after everything he's done for us?
It could just be one of the ways he goes about pretending to obey the government. We can sit here and doubt his intentions all day, but we're better off just asking. You have a big heart, Yuito. Your trusting nature is one of your most likable features. I should really follow your example.
It's because he's sincere. I think our skepticism might provide him a nice balance.
That might be true.
Okay.
Sorry to call you out here. While I accepted Luca's generous invitation the last time, I feel it would be dangerous for me to frequent your hideout. There's a good chance the team surveilling me will notice.
We appreciate your consideration.
Wataru told me what happened in Seiran. I've also given the government a report that won't affect our activities.
What? Is that safe? Your family is Spring Pharmaceuticals.
That's precisely why I did. Reporting my own family's wrongdoings only gets the government to trust me more. Besides, Karin and I were the first ones to propose that research facility.
What?
I think you already know about Alice. She's still being held in that facility as an other. We enticed Seiran in order to protect her, knowing full well they would abuse their research. The results of which were the ampules and the uprising. We were fools.
What's going on with this country?
I have no
Seiran
clue what
may
the
have
fuck's going on in
incited
this
an
game,
uprising,
by the way.
but there's still a new Himuka city just like ours. Suo's conducting human experiments, and Seiran is basically doing the same thing.
All of it being done to develop new weapons to fight the threat of the others. One chose to strengthen powers, and one explored a method to control the others themselves.
What are others, anyway? I've heard they suddenly began appearing after the Spring of Extinction, but not much is known about them still.
That's true. I guess the only other thing we know is that they're created in the extinction belt.
Some are saying they're wild animals that experience sudden mutations. But are they really wild?
It's very possible that the government is hiding what they actually are.
That is the crux of it.
Huh?
Even the public can sense something different about the others. So, focusing on that point will nullify the government's personality rehabilitation efforts.
Like exposing a government secret to every new Himuka citizen? Just like my brother did in the uprising.
Exactly. Karin and I once plotted to send a video of a human at the moment of being metamorphosed straight to the minds of every citizen. But we couldn't find any definitive video to serve as our evidence, and I was hampered after they threatened Karin.
So that's why you let the government turn you into a spy.
Yes, but now they should have Nagi's data from when Naomi was metamorphosed for research purposes.
They took his memory when they subjected him to personality rehabilitation.
Now that you mention it, Nagi seemed like he had no idea about Naomi's metamorphosis after he was discharged from the hospital.
But wouldn't that cause brain damage?
Extracting a specific memory is a dangerous process. but that's hardly even a concern to them. You all have the same memory of her metamorphosis, but attempting to digitize and extract it is too risky.
That's why we need Nagi's stored memory data. It's already been extracted.
We can send the data via Arahabaki to every citizen as proof of the government's inhumane acts. The people are ready to hear it.
Can you access it?
Yes. I received permission to enter the secure site while you were heading out to Seiron on your last assignment. I've been provided with a one-time use pass.
Nagi's stolen memory. Where is it stored?
I think they're storing it in the old OSF hospital you infiltrated before. I'm sorry for not having more concrete intel, but that facility was used to research powers. It's very likely it's there. Could you infiltrate the old hospital after the platoon has been reorganized?
Reorganized? I forgot about that.
I'm staying in Yuito platoon. This isn't the world I want either.
I see. So Hanabi is the only one that needs to be transferred.
No, I'll stay too.
Are you sure? Staying with us could mean being targeted by the government.
Then we'll deal with it if it comes to that. After all the awful things we learned, I can't just sit here and do nothing while my friends are trying to do something about it.
You don't care if it brings trouble to your family?
No. And I'm actually starting to suspect that it wasn't just my uncle who knew, but my father too.
Thank you, Hanabi. Your help means a lot to me. I'll leave you to recover Nagi's memory from Naomi's metamorphosis. I'd like to go myself, but I don't want them revoking my access to Arahabaki, so I have to lay low for now. You've made a lot of waves, Yuito. You need to be careful. This will be your second time infiltrating the hospital.
Yes, I will.
By the way, I can send you some data to help you bypass the old hospital security system. I may not be as good as my sister, but I can still put together a program or two. Please use this to aid your infiltration.
Thank you.
Well, good luck.
Okay.
I'm with you, Commander Yuito.
I'm really glad the whole platoon was able to work as a team.
We're all in this together.
There's something back here, right? Where is it? Oh, fuck. Another one. Oh, am I not even supposed to be here? Oh.
You can't see it, but the other is still around. Use SAS to find it.
I didn't see you at that looked like a place data would be stored when we came here for nothing before.
If it's here, it must be deeper inside the building. Probably somewhere very hard to get to.
Now die! Come on!
Whoa! Nice!
Yuito, I can disrupt the security system with Major General Fubuki's program. You can proceed safely. Understood.
Yeah, actually, where's this even gonna land when I finish playing this? I wonder. Where am I going? Wait, what? So stairs are there. Oh.
We'll be able to move forward if we use my power, Yuito.
I don't know, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I don't know if I care enough to play a Kasami playthrough. I fucked that up, but well, that's fine. What? What was that?
It is nothing.
I hit the outer shell. I think I can break it if I focus my attacks.
What?
It's covered in oil. Burn it up. Shell reaching
Fuck.
burn. Put the pressure on it.
My clairvoyance. Use it, Yuito.
I can hit it. It's over.
Whoa! Nice!
Is that it? Oh.
Take out all the enemies here. Let's go.
I forgot. I can't hit him unless I use confluence, right?
So many enemies. I'm really counting on you.
Okay. Let's do that. So I'm responding to attacks. What am I doing? Oh, fine.
Using Luca's teleportation would make this easier.
Wait, can I just not do it? No, there's no way there. It's like a border thing there.
Spray something like oil. Don't get it on you.
How's that?
That's the weak spot. Yeah.
Get ready.
Oh shit, I didn't want to do that. Whatever. I really don't like that's automatic.
Now die.
All my training has been worth it.
Wow. Okay, fine. Just do it.
Leave it to me. Now die.
It's down. Give it everything you've got.
I can hit it. It's over. Yeah.
Finish it, Yuito.
Some help, Luca.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, is that not the right way?
Time to use this.
Oh shit, wrong button. God damn it.
Ready to deploy. if we use my power, Yuito?
I'm just a fucking idiot.
Do
It's
you
over
remember
here.
the layout of the building? You were admitted to this hospital when you were little.
That's what I hear, but I don't remember it at all. I guess I was too young.
Yeah, no shit. What?
Looks like the enemy dropped something rare.
Good job, Yuito. That last attack finished it.
Damn it, I did it again. Whatever. This is not the right way.
We'll be able to move forward if we use my power, Yuito.
Yeah, let's skip this one.
Here we go. Here we go. Keep going. Right in the middle. Next.
Damage to outer shell confirmed. Keep going and break it.
Here we go.
Successfully breached shell. Attack now.
Come on.
Frustrating.
Fuck. What is it again? Wait, what is this? Oh. I didn't realize that was a thing. Wait. I'm so confused. How do I do that? I have to push all of them at once? I'm so confused. What the fuck is that? Whatever.
The resource re- It's close. Should we get it?
You know what, actually, I'll be honest, I'm kind of bored playing this game. Let's just listen to a podcast. I feel like I'm gonna fucking kill myself if I don't.
That person would win. Like, that really was a
Like, I at
concerning
least
thing
want
for
to
me
finish the
during the show
Yuito
actually airing.
playthrough.
And I remember
Just
saying
so,
in the finale,
from what I
like, this will
understand,
be
the
so
two
fun on a
playthroughs
rewatch. I
are
can just, like, root
relatively
for Nat's
similar.
journey and enjoy it and not be scared
But I'll
that it's
probably
gonna,
play
like,
this and
ruin
I'll
the
probably at
season and
least
ruin the whole
start
effect
with
of
the
the season.
Same one.
And I can
We'll
confirm
see
on the
after
rewatch that was extremely fun for me. It was a different viewing experience. Be like, yeah, Nat, go! Beat Edge of Extinction, like, be the best at this, but don't win. Because that will ruin the season for me. And I knew she didn't. So, it was fun on the rewatch for me. And I could enjoy all of Edge of Extinction knowing this isn't going to impact the game. We're still going to get the winner we should have got. But you know what? Enjoy the ride. Enjoy spending time with Rob and Amber together. Amber's really beautiful confessional on the edge. The loved ones, like, just spend time with these people that you've spent like 20 years caring about. And on the rewatch especially, without any of that anxiety, like, that was something I was absolutely able to do.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the con that I snuck in there during the pro is that I do think that they spent way too much time on scavenger hunts that I didn't care about. They could have completely removed the challenge component of Edge of Extinction, and I would have been much happier in general.
Yeah.
Except for the log was good.
The fact that it could work out, that I could be as high on it as I am, I think, again, it's just casting. It's just the cast. They could elevate anything. I would watch these 20 people sit around and watch grass grow. I'd watch them watching grass grow and their commentary on it. Like, it made even the log challenge interesting. Yeah, and I come in saying it didn't ruin the season because it didn't decide the outcome. That's all that matters to me. But if we're going to put out, other pros or cons, I mean, I guess like a small con would be timing. They didn't have enough time. So, I mean, that's not really, I think we all agree on that. I'm going to give a different con then. The whispering. I don't have a defense for this. And the whispering to me is something I was more, I think, like, vaguely negative on at the time. I was like, this doesn't feel right, but, like, we need a solution. In the rewatch, I was like, ban the whispering. Like, done. No getting out of your seat. This is Tribal Council. It is a TV show. It's not just a game. This is bad TV. And it added, like, a 10% layer of, like, incomprehensible, kind of shallow, largely irrelevant, sometimes relevant, but, like, largely irrelevant chaos that made all of the meaningful chaos just become too much. And we, like, lost the thread of what was actually happening to the, like, white noise of whispering. No more. Ban it. Also, one thing is that, like, if someone plays, like, a mid-tribal council advantage, like, safety without power or a vote steal, seems a little unfair to ban whispering then. If something changes the game, whispering can only be done with subtitles and with post-tribal council confessionals telling us what the hell is going on, because there was way too much time spent.
Yeah.
And we had such little time, and we couldn't even hear what they were freaking saying. It was driving me crazy. Yeah, extreme con for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the idea of like whispering, like right before the vote is about to happen. I mean, the idea of that happening in Big Brother is like, oh man, this is amazing. Even if we have no idea what they're saying in the moment, because in Big Brother, what they would do is that in the next episode they'd flash back and tell us what was happening, and they would have showed like, why did that vote happen? Well, let's find out. Previously on Big Brother, this is what was happening. These whispers happen. They do that with double evictions a lot. On Survivor, they don't. On Survivor, we're lucky if they cut to that night, them coming back and being like, oh crap. And we never really know what happened during the whispering. I love the concept of whispering. I don't want them to ban whispering. I just want them to edit it better. I want to know what it is that's happening, either in the moment or after the fact.
The moment. That's funny. Saying moment so many times on the
Where the fuck am I going?
That's what I would say, the editing of the whispering more so than the whispering itself, because I think the whispering is fun. And here's the thing too, though. Sometimes the whispering was happening and it made absolutely no difference. It got to a point where they were whispering for the sake of whispering, and in that case, just cut it out. Cut it out of the episode. We don't need it.
I mean, like, in terms of the whispering, I think they would play better if they knew it wasn't an option to them. Like, just because they just do it because they can. If we would have, like, no more getting out of your seat, guys, like, they would then have that chaos at camp, and we could then view it like a TV product. If you're saying that you want whispering, again, I'm saying ban it, but if you're saying you want it, what I'm saying about post-tribal confessionals, we take them to the I don't know logistically. At nighttime, they're doing confessionals. I want to hear them in tribal council.
I'm thinking of the push.
I want to hear every, especially because they're going to the edge, like they're still in the game. We have a confessional. Then Jeremy starts whispering to me, and he says blah blah blah. When we see them talking, we hear Tony above it or Sophie or whatever telling us what is going on in tribal council with confessionals, because we don't give confessionals in tribal council because we can hear what's happening. It's like a stage show until it's not. So no more whispering we can't hear that isn't subtitled. Like, what are we watching?
Yeah. In watching a lot of these older seasons, the players are not allowed to get up and walk around. We've explored this a great deal where JT gets up and in Game Changers and truly becomes the game changer in that moment, because then people throughout all the seasons You know,
Where am I going?
I would prefer it if you couldn't
I
get
really
up out of your
know
chair.
where the fuck
Like,
I'm
I
going.
feel like that Jeff used to say, like, hey, you know, I think if Kathy asks, like, hey, could me and Vesepia go and talk about this? Like, no, you're in an open forum. You can say whatever you have to say here. I feel like that makes for better television. Can I add to this point that it's not even the whispering that is my biggest con with the Tribal Council. It's the actual talking at Tribal Council. I think that this is so much wasted time in the show that there is like 4-5 minutes of Jeff asking questions to the players that are meaningless. That I'd say 90% of what we even get in the episode is just, and first off, it's theater. Nobody's saying anything. You know, maybe at best you get like some analogy for what's going on, but how many times do we have to talk about it? And I mentioned this point earlier of that, oh, you know, this is actually really complicated. There's so many things that you have to think about, that people could be lying to you. And what if there are advantages? Oh my God, that's such a great point. What do you think? Like, oh yes, you know, that you could be telling somebody one thing and then are they lying to you? Who's to say? This is Survivor. Everybody's a great player. We could be learning so much more about what the players are doing going into Tribal Council, as opposed to hearing them just talk about like their sort of like press conference-y lies about what's actually happening.
Yeah, Rob, I think you're the perfect person to recognize this, because I think that this becomes the things that are meaningless and pointless and boring become glaringly obvious when you're rewatching a season, and you're rewatching many seasons over and over. You start to realize at what point your eyes are glossing over, and you're not listening to a single thing that's being said. And for me, only rewatching a few seasons for these, a lot of that was Tribal Council. I was like vaguely listening for like a funny quote here or there, but beyond that, I was just like, oh, this is a time for me to sort of like finish up notes on other things that I didn't have time for, because Tribal is mostly pointless. There are sometimes some funny things that happen. Very rarely stick to the plan, some things that happen that are strategically relevant, but like 95% of the time, it's just useless. Don't need it.
Yeah. And if you get stick to the plan, you show more. Like, you know, definitely still film Tribal Council for hours. Just show us what's relevant.
Leave it to me.
So I had the realization a few years ago where I was like, I don't think I really like Tribal Council. And I was like, I'm a Survivor fan who doesn't like Tribal Council, and I like, you know, hid the shame that I have. And then a couple of years later, I said to my brother, I'm like, I want to admit something to you. Like, I don't really like Tribal Council. And he was like, me too. I was like, oh my God, thank you. I've been carrying this. And now that you're saying it, I think we can agree, like, yeah, it's the press conference. I'd rather see them actively tell us or talk to each other about legitimate plans. Now, this isn't a winners at war thing. This is the show, but it becomes painfully apparent when every single second counts. It's the most frenetic season of all time, where you have 19 or 20 players in every episode, and the Edge, sometimes 3 tribes in the Edge. There's a lot going on. I would agree. When I'm binging it, I'm 1.5 at camp, 2.3 in the challenges. I'm like 2 times in Tribal Council. Like, this is the least, you know, it is the second least important thing to me after the challenges. And I'm so glad that we can, like, share this with each other and, like, admit it in a really safe space, because I've carried the shame that, like, this, you know, this thing of the show, the staple of the show, is, like, to me.
Just gotten very, very bloated over seasons, where when I watch these really old seasons, you know, that Survivor, Tribal Council is not the whole segment after we go to, like, it's not like we go to a commercial and come back from a commercial and then do an entire 5th segment of the show. At Tribal Council, it would be, you know, they'd have the challenge, they go back to camp, and I know that, like, the strategy before Tribal Council is also expanded, but we didn't spend an entire act at Tribal Council. It was like the last half of the 5th act, and now it's the entire 5th act of the show. So this has become very bloated and very meaningless.
Leave it to me. Voting it first. Tribal Council bad. Okay, there you go. I feel like we really hit on something big.
It's not bad. Like the part
it's just not as good as other things, and that doesn't make it bad.
All right, it is time to vote. Like, does anybody have anything important to say? No. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's carried in the moment. during the season, when you're watching episode by episode, it's carried by the tension of what's going to happen with the vote, who's going to be voted out. You're thinking about that. You're trying to read into what people are saying. You are feeling that tension in that moment. But I can't do it every time, Shannon.
Gonna have to.
So I think it works better when you're watching live. But I agree overall. I think that it doesn't need to be. Why are we having to carry it?
Well,
through
and
this
then the
tension?
next save point.
Why can't we get something more interesting during that time, or whatever, right? So I think that it's as we said, like much more apparent through a rewatch. But I think that it's still definitely an area that we can improve.
Yeah, we just do it because we've always done it. We just do it because it's iconic. Like, yeah, have tribal council. Give us half as many non-answers. No whispering, but, unless it's going to be... The whispering that they were doing and the strategizing, I was like, I wish I saw this at camp. I wish that they had known this wasn't an option, and I was getting confessionals about it, and I was hearing their plans rather than just, vague whispering. Because I think something that they incorrectly relished, was, this is chaos. And there was a lot of just, chaos montage, and I didn't derive a lot of meaning from that because I don't want my strategy montage, whether in vague whispers or in literal montage form. So I think they were like, look how intensity season 40 is. They're now whispering at their third tribal in a row. There's a montage of how fast-paced the strategy is, and that didn't really work for me. I'd rather I saw the chaos by literally tracking how the strategy was moving in a legitimately fast way, rather than chaos, because you're telling me it's chaos and I'm seeing it chaos scene and it's meaningless.
Yeah. Especially that period of the game that we're talking about where it's from the start of the merge through when we get through up until the Sophie vote, we really have no idea what happened. We just hear from a lot of the players, wow, this is so confusing. This is the most strategizing I've ever seen. I can't believe it. There were people going here and left and right, and I couldn't believe how many conversations that were happening.
Yeah.
We could have seen some of the conversations.
Yeah, and the three of us spent a lot of time trying to untangle that web in hundreds of hours of Survivor podcast. And yeah, as I'm binging it, I'm following it fine. I know what happens, obviously. Then it gets to this early merge part, especially the second Tyson vote. Yeah. I just wrote in my new notes. I was like, I don't really know what's going on. Check your old notes. Go back to the old notes, and the old notes were in every version of myself, even at its most highly analytical. Some of this was losing the thread of it. Me. I think I can follow a lot. I think it's a season that rewarded 2 viewings a week, which is what I was doing for the podcast, and I like things that reward that extra kind of investment where little details, more clarity around when you're kind of watching it through again, but some things just lost the plot completely, and I think we're very down on that.
And the real truth isn't even in there. There's things conversation that from post-game interviews, they're actually why that happened was Tyson and Sarah Lucina had a conversation at nighttime at the beach, and then that happened, and that snowballed, and so there's no way to actually even figure out what's going on from watching the episodes.
Yeah,
I would agree.
And I think that's a major con of the season for me as well, especially that portion of the season. But it's something that I'm kind of used to right now because I feel like the more strategically complex the game gets, the harder a time it is for the editors to correctly portray. We're seeing that in Big Brother this season. So it's unfortunate, and it's another criticism I have of the edit in this regard, where I really do feel like they could have done a better job.
Is that what that is?
We've already pointed out a lot of the areas where they could have spent that time. Time management in general, we continue to point out as a con for the season.
Okay.
And it's again just I wanted more. I just wanted more, and I wish that we could have gotten more. And that's not necessarily up to the editors or even the producers of the show, but I do think that they could have spent their time better. And I wish that instead of hearing about how complex it was, that I could have seen more of how complex it was. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I afford another
I feel
one?
We've had maybe a couple of cons in a row.
Another power.
With a pro.
And I can't.
Right.
But I can sell stuff.
Okay.
Go, Shannon, go for the pro, because I've got another con loaded up.
Okay. A pro. I enjoyed the gameplay. Now, this might be controversial.
correct.
I saw a lot of like people who like Winners at War don't care about gameplay. I was like, that's
Oh,
me.
that's what the E stands for. I'm a
Classic
fucking idiot.
non-gameplay. That's Taryn. Like, okay. I enjoyed the
Shit.
gameplay of the show. I thought there was several gameplay highlights. The Sophie vote, Taryn and I have discussed so much,
Sure.
and I've discussed how we've discussed it. A highlight in that plurality vote.
What about
it was
beyond
incredible.
the Sophie
That's
vote, though?
enough.
The Denise move. Now, you can agree with it or you cannot, but it is historic that she sent Sandra home with her own idol. And I think the Ethan vote, that plurality as well, the blind side of the blind side that then, breaks it wide open. I think to me those are like the three key gameplay moves that I think stand out in any season. I also, for me, as I was analyzing it weekly, I did enjoy the like shifting dynamics and kind of driving themes of old school, new school, lion, hyena, whatever was kind of being driven.
Oh, really?
That
Well, that's
because,
bullshit.
there's no
If I knew that, I wouldn't have done
passive player in
that.
War. Even when people are being passive, it's an active choice, and every player did have like their own individual agenda. So whether it was something concrete like the Sophie boot, like Denise's move, or whether it was shifting patterns through the week, something we called a Cold War at the time on the podcast, whether it was, whatever part of that it was,
One's
I really
here.
enjoyed the shifting gameplay, again, largely due to the players and their casting, but for me,
Oh, fuck, we're 8 now. Oh, shit. I thought we were actually further. Alright, we're actually going 6
fit on
hours.
either side, but I enjoyed it.
Whatever. Next up, we
I'm
continue
with
on.
you. I
Channel,
think
thank you for
it
watching.
is, if you're trying to find